Hi, I'm Jill Barth. I'm the HR Tech Editor at HR Executive, and we are on the Expo floor at the HR Tech Conference 2023 in Las Vegas at Mandalay Bay. We have the HRE Studio, which is a really great place to meet with some of our friends and get some exclusive interviews. And we are lucky today to have Madeline Laurano, founder of Aptitude Research, with us here today. She's been really busy. She's a speaker, and she's just chosen sit down with us to share a few thoughts. So thanks for being here.
Thanks, Jill. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, so I'm curious, you've been here before, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is your first time. What keeps you coming back and keeps people coming back to this event? Why is it so important for the community of HR Tech?
Yeah, it's so important. I mean, it's the energy, it's where I learn and stay up to date with everything that's happening in HR Tech. I get to reconnect with old friends, old colleagues, and then meet new companies that I've never heard of. And if I'm going to stay on top of trends as an analyst and stay on top of this market, I have to be at this event.
So I was reading some of the research, and you said something, maybe somewhere around half of employers made an investment in talent acquisition recently. How are these investments manifesting for HR leaders?
Yeah. So it's shifted a little bit during the pandemic in 2021. We saw that 70% of companies were investing, increasing their investment. Now we're still seeing 51% increasing their investment in HR technology, which is significant. And I think even with hiring slowing down, even with changes, companies are looking at technology to be able to help automate a lot of the administrative work that they're doing, but help them be more strategic in how they prepare for the future of work.
And should HR leaders, as they're coming here for the first time, they could be really at any point of their career, but when they think of talent acquisition and HR tech, are there any mindset shifts, or is this something that we're all kind of learning as the tech develops?
Yeah, we just actually did some new research on recruitment and retention, and it's really two sides of the same coin. So I think the shifts that we're seeing is that talent acquisition isn't just about filling positions as quickly and cost effectively as possible. There's a lot of the trends right now that are impacting retention as well. Skills-based approach to talent, internal mobility, strategic workforce planning. These are all areas that are really impacting retention, as it's a bigger picture than just talent acquisition.
And keeping the internal talent pool within your own ecosystem, but maybe finding ways to further people maybe outside of what their resume looks like. Is that something that tech can help kind of uncover?
Absolutely. And a skills-based approach or talent intelligence looks at the full picture of the individual, the complete picture. So it looks at, for a candidate, what opportunities might be, really understanding their potential, but for an internal candidate, it's really looking at, okay, what opportunities do they have for growth, to be able to build new skills, to be able to understand their learnability and the potential, again, for some career opportunities.
It's got to be refreshing for people that are entering the workforce for the first time. We hear that young people want to be with a firm that values them, that has the same values, and it seems like this kind of approach is becoming a little bit more people-friendly and maybe more in tune with what really matters to people. Do you find that in your research?
Absolutely. And I think all of the technology providers that we're seeing here at the Expo really are focused not just on how they can benefit the employer and the organization, but how they can benefit the individual in that experience as well. And that's a huge shift from 10 years ago.
Something I'm curious about, and I don't know what kind of research there is on this, so let me know, but when we faced the bigger picture of remote work, and so talent became more globalized, have HR leaders learned from that? Are they taking that idea, like, now I don't really have to have someone that lives in my hometown come to work? Is there research on how this is going to have a long-term impact?
Yeah, and I think it has. A lot of organizations are staying remote, or they're realizing this can expand their talent pool, but there's a lot of complications that can go along with that as well. And I think a lot of companies are still figuring out, for some companies they're collecting data very differently in different systems. They maybe didn't even ask for an address before, or didn't need to in some of the recruitment systems, and now they need to ask for those fields. So even adding those fields can be a little bit of a challenge.
Yeah, we've written a lot about return to work and the decisions that employers have to make. It's in the news every day. But taking the granular data and seeing how employers can use it, that's what the practitioner's thinking about in a lot of ways too.
Absolutely.
That hiring talent is an art and a science, which I love that because it kind of applies what we know and a little of what we feel is instinct, maybe. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, and I just moderated a session with Spectrum. It's an amazing organization. Their TA team is amazing, but they had their IO on stage, and then their head of talent acquisition on stage, and they're really a partnership. So they look at kind of creating a story in recruitment marketing and employer branding, but using data to tell that story. And all of the solutions they're using for hiring and the AI that they're using for hiring is really balancing that art of talent acquisition, empowering recruiters, empowering your brand, and at the same time having the science behind it to be able to make more strategic decisions.
I really like that, because we maybe think of storytelling as being only a creative pursuit, but it needs to be backed with data, or now it can be.
Absolutely.
I once was talking to another woman in the field, and she said that so many people come to her and say, "Oh, I'm not a data person. I don't do data." But the argument was everybody does data. If you read what your phone says or what your car says,
right.
So maybe there are some HR leaders that are a little bit hesitant to say, I can do that, but do you have any advice for them from your perspective as a founder in this landscape?
I agree with you 100%. I think we use data all the time, and we're very comfortable in our personal lives benchmarking ourselves against these different data points, and we do that constantly. So I think just empowering HR leaders to say you actually are comfortable with data, you use it quite a bit, and it's not as scary as it used to be. It doesn't mean you're taking data and then going to an Excel spreadsheet and analyzing. These systems have come a long way. AI is helping us draw insights from that data, so it's much easier and much simpler than it used to be.
When I'm thinking of different people that are working with data, I think recruiting has got to be one of the most challenging jobs, especially now that things are so volatile, constant change. What can people that are in the recruiting field find from some of these vendors or some of your experience with HR tech and embracing that to make their job a little easier?
So, I think it's understanding what you need as an organization, understanding your own internal needs of what you're looking for and being very clear about that, and then going out and being able to strategically evaluate different providers based on what your unique needs are. And I think the other piece to that is this is an amazing industry. People share their experience, they share their experience with different providers. Take advantage of that. You're coming to conferences like HR Tech, you have an opportunity to network and meet all of these amazing practitioners and HR leaders and hear, what their experiences are.
Yeah, I was fascinated by how many sessions there are in general.
Yes.
And the case study sessions and things like that, where folks are just here sharing their experience pretty openly with a group of people. So
yes.
It does seem like a great opportunity.
As a writer for you, it must be amazing just because you get all this amazing content from the case study side.
It's been great. Just every little bit of data, every fact, everything that people are throwing out has been really helpful. It's wonderful to have everyone in one place like this.
Absolutely.
So where can people find you if they want to access your research or keep up with you?
Yeah, thank you for asking. So they can go to our site, aptituderesearch.com. We publish reports very regularly. I'm on Twitter. It's not hard to find me, Mad Tarquin. And then I'm on LinkedIn quite a bit as well.
Great.
Yeah.
And is there anything new coming up that you can give us a sneak peek on? Any research
we're just publishing a talent intelligence report that is sponsored by Eightfold, and we just launched that recruitment retention report that was sponsored by Plum. So we've got a lot of exciting things coming up.
Great partners.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you for joining us. It's been a lot of fun. We will be coming up in Europe in May, which you probably heard, and so that's exciting news. So we'll see you all soon.